Okay, hello. I got an interesting video about Madonna, I guess. Um, a potential today, actually tonight. We're still in 4/6 today, the 6th of April. It's 10:30 at night, um, and I wanted to do this video. I've kind of been looking at it for a few hours now, and the personal synchronicities are just crazy for me with this one. So if something does happen, probably won't, but if something were to happen, like Madonna was to actually croak between now and 4/7, or even on or sometime tomorrow, I'd probably come back and maybe add in some of the personal stuff for me. But it's been a bit of an emotional weekend, um, with some sad news today because some of you, if you watch the channel, you know that last fall I went home back to England to visit with my dad, who was in the hospital and not doing good. They put him on end of life stuff, and then there was a miracle, and he survived that. Anyway, he was ended up back in hospital Friday, and he passed away today. So it's been a pretty emotional day, but I felt like I needed to do this video just because of the connections and even just the connections to my father. It's just, I mean, it's just a huge amount of personal connections to today. So I thought, well, I'll do this. I noticed a couple of these numbers the other day that involves this date. So I thought, well, I'll do the video just because there's quite a lot of strong personal stuff for me for this day. And so, yeah, I'll just go straight into it. Fortunately, one thing that I will say is fortunately, and yeah, fortunately, my father was in no real pain when he died. My sister was there with him, and so was his half sister, and he was basically just in a deep sleep, kind of almost would say comatose, but he wasn't in any pain. Last time we were there in the fall, he was in a lot of pain when he was in the hospital, and he's been in a lot of pain for the last few years. So it's been a blessing, really, that he's actually passed on, because he wasn't in a good, he wasn't in a good place where he was. Anyway, is there anything else I want to say about that? I mean, of course, if you're from England, you know how the health service works or doesn't actually work, and so a lot of his pain and suffering was due to the fact that, well, just basic negligence, really, and he put all his faith in that system, um, and that's what ended up happening. It was tragic, really, but it just is what it is. Anyway, let's move on with this decode. So I mentioned this in a video I don't know, a week ago or so, and I couldn't find this picture. We found a picture that was similar, but it wasn't this one, and I wanted to find. Anyway, I'll look this picture up again. This is the Gyllenhaal family coat of arms. So Jake Gyllenhaal, or Jake Gyllenhaal, however you want to say it. Okay, Donnie Darko's coat of arms, basically. The first thing to note, right, is I don't know why this is up here. This sort of it looks like an eclipse. It looks like the symbol from Donnie Darko. Okay, this is the Donnie Darko at the top of here. I'm not sure why this is in here, whether this is even real or what. I don't know, but it's here. It can be found on the internet if you Google it. Okay. We're going to be talking about this arm here, but before we get into that, I just back with my father. His the two people that were with him at the end, my sister and my well, she's actually my aunt. It's a long story, and maybe we'll go into it another time. But she's my father's half sister. Okay, she is an 8/4 eclipse day reference with her birthday. Okay, my father is an 11/17 birthday reference, which is the midpoint in the Pluto cycles. Yeah, it's the 17th is the day before 11/18 Mickey Mouse's birthday. It's a Pluto reference. This number here is a Pluto reference. 8/14 is 28 days before 9/11. My father died. These are his numbers on his years and days, the numerology in that order. I'm not going to go into exact stuff right now. I don't want to do exact stuff. I don't feel comfortable putting out tons of like information, personal information right at the minute. But anyway, this is just absolutely nuts. Okay. Why are we looking at this? What is the significance of this arm here? Okay. And Donnie Darko, and notice the flag in here, because I'll probably forget to mention this again. Flag Day is 6/14, Donald Trump's birthday. Okay, so this connection back to Donald Trump with Donnie Darko. So this is Flag Day. Okay, this arm here, what we're really thinking about is, well, where have I got it? It's this arm in Donnie Darko with the numbers on it. Okay, and right at the center of this thing is 6/4. This is today's date. Okay, and again, we're going to be talking about Madonna Darko. Okay, maybe I'll call the video Donna Darko or something like that. Madonna Darko. But that's what we're dealing with this decode. Okay, is the middle of the arm. Okay, it's not in the in the whatever you call this, the base of the elbow, the I don't know, the inside bit of the elbow here. Okay, but it's, this is in the middle of the number here, like the middle of the arm, 6/4. Okay, I mean, I tell you, the personal things are just crazy at the minute. Like, my sister booked a trip to come on the 9th. I said to her, that's not a, she just booked it out of the blue, okay. She had been talking about coming. She said, well, I booked the tickets, and anyway, the 9th. I said, oh, that's a bit of a dodgy day to be coming over to visit on. And but anyway, she's going to bring. Well, I don't know if she's still coming or not yet, but she's going to bring my nephew. And the references with my nephew are, he wants to be either a train driver or something to do with trains, or, so that's obviously highly like linked to the idea of Madonna and all the train stuff that we've been looking at. But out of the blue, I was talking to her the other day, and she's like, well, can you fire up the forge? Maybe we can do some forging, because he's been thinking about doing something to do with armor, making armor. And for those of you that don't know, I ended up coming to America to train as a farrier. That's what I got when I came here. I went to school, trained as a farrier, and then I got my journeyman farrier certificate, and which was basically going to be my window back to going and doing farriering in England, because it takes 4 years to do an apprenticeship in England. Actually takes longer than 4 years. Actually takes 4.5 years. 4 years, 6 months, 46 again. But yeah, I didn't want to spend 4.5 years learning that, so I came here and I did my journeyman in 2 years, which allows you to go to England and shoe horses in England legally. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I was talking to him the other day, and he's thinking about doing this, because he's kind of doesn't know what he's doing with this, what he wants to do, and so this was just out of the blue, something to do with armor, making art suits of armor, and I'm like, huh. It's just I don't know where this, the connections are just nuts. My wife, for instance, has a huge connection to this. Yeah, the arm of armor. It's where she's from. Okay, a place called Armor. So it's just nuts. Anyway, where am I going with this? So this connection, and there's lots of films with this thing referenced. Like there's the Lady Gaga 911 video. There's a reference to this arm of armor. There's Tank Girl that we were just looking at the other day, where the Freightliner truck, or it might not be a Freightliner, but the big semi truck goes over the cliff. Yeah. Well, in that film, this is referenced again, the arm of armor, and this thing is referenced. Is this to do with the reference of the hand and the arm in Back to the Future always being referenced? I don't know. Marty's arm doesn't work properly, can't play the guitar anymore, with the Rolls Royce crash, the Rolls Royce in front of the train in Who's That Girl? And so we go, there's just so many references. But anyway, this connection to the arm and then the arm in Donnie Darko, okay, what basically, really, I need to show you. Oh, there's a ton of stuff in here to show you, but let me show you in Die Another Day where this happens. Okay, here's the suit of armor. Madonna's going to grab an axe from the suit of armor. It's not a flag, but it's an axe. And if we watch this arm here, watch that fall off. And later on in here we have these references to gold and the gold finger again that we've been discussing. James Bond references, of course, because this is the song video for the film Die Another Day. Okay, I wish we could have just. Well, anyway, there's the other reference that we were looking at with Goldfinger and the feminine covered in gold. And there's an Odd Job reference in here, which again is back to Fort Knox. Okay, which was Goldfinger as well. So there's Odd Job. Okay, so there's a lot of, there's the mannequin in gold, right? So there's a lot of references here with Madonna Die Another Day, right? What was the other thing I wanted to show you? In Donnie Darko, when Gretchen gets run over, so she's portraying the Virgin Mary feminine side Madonna version thing in Donnie Darko, and she gets run over here. And it's this car here with the Firebird, the Pontiac Firebird car. Okay, whatever. It's got the 6-4 in the center of. It's got the 6-4 in the center of the number plate here, and it's got Donald Trump numbers in here, and we've done decodes as well with Donald Trump's ear wound in this scene. And again, we come to another Madonna video where she dies in the video, and it's the Pontiac Firebird again. Okay, and there's tons of references in this video. And this is Guy Ritchie that did this with her when he was married to her as well. And then we go back to Snatch, and the references with Snatch and Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt, by the way, is born the day after, different year, of course, but born so he's born. What is most people born the day before? He is born trying to think now. The Pope is the 17th, and then we've got Jake Gyllenhaal, who is the 19th, and I think I want to say Brad Pitt's the 18th. So he's born the day before. I want to say he's the day before. I want to say it's the 18th. I can't remember all these blooming dates, but I just know, you know, the two people we're going to be looking at. Well, this we're going to be looking at Jake, and we're going to also look at the Pope a little bit as well, because of his birthday being just 2 days before Jake's. Obviously, all different years, but we're just talking about the day of the year. So there's these references here, and this is also a 4/9 reference because the when it's released, the release date of the music, the song, and also you can get a 4/7 from the length of the song as well. In fact, it's actually correct right here as we see it. You can reduce the 3 and the 4 down to a 7, so you've got 4/7 here. So of course we're dealing with 4/6 into 4/7. If I can get through this video, because it's going to be long, and I might just do a quick abbreviated version of this, just showing the arm, the speaker, showing the arm, and then showing the dates on the arm, because that's the easiest way of referencing all this. So anyway, the connections with, again, and this red and gold connection that we've been having as well, important as well. So dear oh dear, I mean, there's just so many connections right now. I'm going to show you, so let's do the Jake Gyllenhaal number jumps, and then I'll show you the Pope stuff, and I'll explain why the Pope's kind of interesting to me as well. So this is Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday through to 4/6, included end date. Notice that it's, again, with Madonna's birthday, which is 8/16, and it's golden ratio numbers. This is why this is interesting. And these numbers here, this is the first 4 numbers, even though 0 is not really a number, but it's the first 4 digits of 5 digits, sorry, of the golden ratio. So this connection with the gold again, the red and gold, which is, you know, the unification of the living man and the son, yeah, or the father, if you like, coming back into balance. So anyway, so we've got these numbers 16180 here. So this is the first thing that's interesting, is that Donnie Darko's, or Jake Gyllenhaal's, birthday through to today's date is this number, which is again Madonna's birthday numbers in here. So then let's look at this, why it gets really, really interesting. If we go from Madonna's birthday, okay, 8/16/1958, through to Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday, okay, 12/19/80, it's 8161 days. 8161 days. That is nuts, okay? But it's still even more nuts than that, because if we go from 9/11, and don't forget that, you know, there's a lot of references to 9/11 in Donnie Darko, yeah. So 9/11, super important, through to 4/7 now, including the end date. Or I suppose you can go, you know, you can jump these days around, you know, a day or two or whatever, but in order to make that work, you have the end date, and we're going to 4/7, which is our this is the midnight hour coming up now into 4/7. Okay, and 4/7 is well interesting as well, with Madonna's references with 122. I might explain in this video here in a minute, but yeah, again, it's 861. Okay, numerology in here. So this is just absolutely mental, you know. Anyway, that's the connections, and obviously the reason why gold is so important is because it's the golden ratio. Okay, and the ear wound with Donald Trump is so important because the ear is the spiral of the golden ratio. Yeah, it's called the oracle. Yeah, coming from the term gold, auric. Okay, an auric Goldfinger. Yeah, okay. And then obviously we were connecting back with the 10 Commandments written by the finger of God, the gold finger. Writing the 10 Commandments, and we did all that Spandau Ballet stuff with the with the tablet there, and that all resurrecting, putting all that tablet back together, putting natural law back together, coming back to God, coming back to the Ten Commandments. And we did the 666 decode stuff that tied back in with Pulp Fiction, and obviously there's a scene in Pulp Fiction where Mia Wallace is resuscitated, and it's John Travolta that is in that film as the other half, which is interesting because the other significant half to John Travolta is the one I think of is the film Grease with Olivia Newton-John, and of course Olivia Newton-John is born on September the 26th, which, if we look at the date for 4/6 for Madonna dying on, which would be 4/6 or into 4/7, it's the 96th day of the year. Well, if we flip to the other side of the year, guess what it is? It's September the 26th. Okay, for the twin date. This is Olivia Newton-John's birthday. Okay, we had the connection with the song Dear Jessie, which was copied by Roller Girl, and you're not going to believe this, but I was at a bloody we had prom. My kids' school had prom last night, and we were at a bloody roller rink. I don't know if you call it a skate park or whatever you call it. It's an inside, like Rollerama. I don't know if people know that in England, Rollerama. But roller skating, yeah. And guess what? My daughter got prom. I'm doing all the I'm doing some of these connections I was going to do, but my daughter got prom queen. My daughter is born on the same day as my father. Okay, they're born. I think I looked it up. I think it was 62. They're 62 years apart, which again ties in with Madonna. No, 64 years apart. I think they were. Ties in with the date. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah, so she got prom queen. Yeah, she's wearing a blue dress. I think, Virgin Mary, darker blue than that, but Virgin Mary blue colours, a bit like the colour that Gretchen's wearing. And coincidentally, I saw a picture somebody took with her, and she was with another girl, and the other girl has this hint of Gretchen's facial features. So it's absolutely mind-blowing to me. I see a lot more I don't know. I think it's because I'm a little artistic, not autistic, but artistic, right? I'm fairly good at painting, painting and drawing and stuff like that. I'm fairly good with and this is why I was pretty good at I don't horseshoe anymore, but again, I was fairly good at horseshoeing because I'm able to look at something and reproduce it fairly well. I'm able to see proportions and things like that. I don't know how I want to explain it, but I have an eye for those things. That's just what I've been given in life, as an eye for seeing stuff. And so see her with when I'm looking at the Donnie Darko clip, and I'm thinking, oh, that looks like my my daughter's friend standing there. I mean, it's very subtle, but and then you see this here, very interesting. But Madonna at the start of this video starts out in a car here, a yellow car, my daughter's favorite color. She's in the blue. My daughter's wearing this blue dress, okay, at prom. Okay, we go to the roller rink, I'll get onto that in a minute. And I can't get if I could get the number plate of this car, but anyway, it just says Pussycat. It says cat on one side and pussy on the other. Okay, so there's all crude references in here, but the point is, my daughter's nickname is Cat. Okay, favorite color yellow. Okay, just crazy little things like this that synchronize with myself. Okay, my sister synchronizes with um, Madonna as well, with the Die Another Day, with the 1022 stuff. Okay, so those dates synchronize. And what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, so the Roller Girl with Olivia Newton-John. The reference to Roller Girl, obviously, Olivia Newton-John did a film called Xanadu. Xanadu is an anagram of, of my email account, was the first and last three letters of my name. So this is a reference with Xanadu and Roller Girl, and Roller Girl has this reference to the eclipse. And in Roller Girl, when I say Roller Girl, this song by an artist called Roller Girl, which is a takeoff of Madonna's Dear Jessie song. And so in that music video, there is a reference to Madonna falling, and it is before they reference the 8-4 eclipse in that, and it's actually taken from Dear Jessie as well, this symbolism of the eclipse. So there's just a mountain of like back references, personal back references, not to mention my own birthday and my wife's birthday, and it's just absolutely insane the amount of back references, and my grandfather and things like this. In fact, we'll probably come on to my grandfather and a little bit about my dad in just a second again as well. Anyway, I can't really remember where I was going this, so we're going to jump a little bit around here. I want to just talk about so the big thing we've got so far is this arm, the Jake Gyllenhaal suit of armor, that thing falling off in Die Another Day, and then we've got the numbers on the arm, okay, in Donnie Darko, and the 6-4 shows up on the car again. We can't see it here, but if you look this clip up and blow it up, it's got a 6-4 in the middle of it, and it's also got an 8-4 for the eclipse. And there's several other things. It's got Donald Trump's, it's got a JD, John Donald, and it's also got, you can convert that into his birthday numbers as well, 146. Okay. What else was I going to say? So there's all these references, right? We've got the reference to the car. There's also a reference with this car in Superman. I'm not doing the reference back to Superman right now, but in Superman, Otis has the codes. I think his name's Otis. Lex Luthor's sidekick has the numbers for the changing the nuclear codes on the missiles written up his arm like this. I can't remember what the numbers are off the top of my head. I did a video on it back a long time ago. But yeah, he has the numbers written up his arm, in a similar fashion. Okay, so, and again, the connection with we've done a bunch of stuff with references there with Superman, and in fact, I can't remember where he comes up out the street. I can't remember if it was 49th or 47th Street, or where. So again, there's another reference there to where Superman breaks free of the Lex Luthor's underground lair, which is also a reference to the Hoover Dam, which has also got the underground train station reference in it. So that again ties into this date. Now, it might have even been 46th Street as well. I can't remember without going back and looking at what I looked at before, but there's tons of connections there. Anyway, let's crack on because there's way more stuff in here. I wanted to reference this as well, that's in the music video for Who's That Girl. Okay, this is the one that's got the reference to my grandfather in it. If you can see that little bit popping up there now. My grandfather used to wear that outfit, and his birthday obviously is 326 numbers, and um, he had this thing for Madonna. Okay, and here is the tarot card, which again is interesting with the sort of gypsy fortune teller in the background here, because there is I got a couple of references with my family back to this this type of thing. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I don't know what I want to. I don't want to get sidetracked with that as well, but there is a reference back again with my family with that stuff. And then we've got this is the High Priestess card. If you can read it, I'm not sure, but the High Priestess tarot card. Okay, let me show you this. Where have I got it? Yeah, I did have it up here. Okay, so this is okay. This is the card, right? The High Priestess, and we've got the crescent moon down here with the water flowing over it. Again, the horseshoe dam, the horseshoe Dan. That's what I am, the horseshoer. But the crescent or arch dam with the water flowing over it in this actual picture with the twin towers, a bunch of other stuff going on here. What was interesting about this horn thing going on here with this headdress, which is kind of Egyptian as well, was also somewhere down here it said, there's this relationship with this card and the Pope. Where the hell's it gone now? Okay, here. Use image of lettering. Anyway, this tarot card was originally called, well, I don't know what the hell the Popess. Okay. And it says something by showing a woman wearing I don't know how to say that word, but it's the papal tiara. Okay. Interesting. So there's a connection with this to a female version of the Pope, and so a connection to the Pope. And there's also a connection in Donnie Darko with. Let's just click on a little bit, and I'll show you something here. Maybe it's just back a little bit. Right here. Come on. Let's go back. Donnie's on the ground, struggling. Notice the stone wall in the background, the dam. Oh dear. Try going back a bit more, so I might have gone forward there. I wish I'd get to his friends. One of his friends has got the. There she is. See the. Yeah, Yeah. Well, I can't get to the friends. This is the problem with the film. There's the. Remember the Donald Trump with the clown references. Oh boy. This is what makes it painful, Dan. Hang on. There's Frank, and Frank, obviously, Francis, Pope. Pope Francis is what we're going to be talking about here in just a second. No, that's too far back. Okay, I'm going to give up on it. But there's the one guy has got these horn. He's got like a helmet on. Why can't I just jump? Oh, there they are. Look, right here. Let's play just a second. No, they've just told him to get lost. Oh. It's so painful, Dan. It's just so painful. Right, we're giving up on it. But anyway, if you go to the scene, you'll know what I'm talking about. The one guy's dressed up like Hulk Hogan, and the other guy's got this sort of Viking helmet type thing on, which reminded me of this with the kind of, I don't know how you'd imagine that, sort of horns sticking up out of it. Okay. Anyway, it's connection to the Pope with this card, and the female Pope and all these different connections that you can just go read. There's no point in me regurgitating everything that's on the Wikipedia page, and I'm sure most of you already know this stuff anyway. So there's no point in going over this too much. But this connection to the Pope here with this card. Let me show you something, and also note that the two up here, and if you go to the Masonic Arch version of this, if you like, with the arch that's up here, note that there's a 6-9 at this point as well. So there's two kind of referencing back with a 6-9 as well. Again, interesting with the day of the year because of, well, it's the 96th day of the year. Okay. Yeah. We're on the other side of the year, but 2, 6, 9, and 96. Okay, go on the other side of the year. So that was kind of okay, you might call that a little stretch there, but and we're jumping back to the Masonic Arch and joining up a couple of ideas there. But anyway, okay, what else was I going to say with this? I'm assuming that these, I don't know 100% if somebody knows, but I'm assuming these are pomegranates here, which again was interesting with the tie back with if they are indeed pomegranates. I don't know, maybe I should read the rest of this and see what exactly they are. But if that is the case, they're probably something else. But anyway, that's what I was getting, a hint of pomegranate from that, and the connection to the Lady Gaga video that is loaded with pomegranates. That's the Lady Gaga 911 video. What else? I'm sorry, this is a little disjointed, but let's go to the Popey. Okay, so this is again another. It's gonna have to be I'm gonna have to tell you this, but this is a kind of a personal thing again. Is that there is a similarity with the facial characteristics of the Pope and my father. There just is. I mean, he doesn't look exactly like him, but if you were just to take a sort of not a proper look, just a glance you can see I can see the similarity between Pope Francis's face and my father's face. I noticed that a while back. He takes office. Takes office. He begins his Pope position the 13th of March. Is another personal day for me. Okay, highly personal. With my father and that day and my son. What else we got? The fact that his middle name is Francis. Again, this connects back to my grandfather, which connects back again to my father because of the name Francis, because my daughter also shares that name. So I'm just all over the place with, and my mother also shares that name. So the references are nuts. Not to mention it's not the name of the school, but originally it was the name of the school. Yeah, St. Francis, where we were at the prom. Okay. So, and she was queen of the prom. Queen. Yeah. Like Madonna is the queen of pop. Just crazy. And oh well, my goodness, I'm just forgetting these things. We did also, the theme for prom was casino night, and of course, what do we have? T-shirts with the Las Vegas sign on it. I mean, it's just, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. The only game that they ended up playing that was remotely connected to Vegas was they just play blackjack. So again, with the reference to the eclipse 21, I I don't know. Anyway, the more I think about it, the more connections, like like that one I just thought about. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, obviously I'd thought about it before, but I just slipped my mind again. Anyway, oh dear, I'm sorry this is taking so long, but it's just going to be one of those videos, I'm afraid. So this connection with Pope Francis, we can go from his birthday. I want to show you why this is interesting, because I've got the number jump up here. What's also interesting is his birthday is right there, a couple of days before uh, Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday, and it's this number right here, from his birthday through to today's date, 32252. Not that interesting, apart from the years and days are pretty interesting, because it's 88 years, 110 days, or you can click in, add in that end date as well, which is 111, Madonna numerology, and obviously with Donald Trump numerology with 88 and 111. This is fairly interesting with the connection with Donald Trump and Madonna in Donnie Darko. But this number here also shows up in the chart of Lorraine. If you're not familiar with this on my channel, then I'm afraid to say it's just a case of going back and looking at old videos. But this is a decode chart. Again, this chart is basically built on the idea of the golden ratio. Okay, that is what is encoded in this chart, the golden ratio. This is what we're dealing with, this gold reference. Okay, and when we come across here, oh, what's the wrong place? What are you doing? When we come across here, you can see I don't want to cut right through this number here. Okay, but there is that number 32252. It's going from 12 to 13, yeah, in row 2 in Lucas numbers. Okay, again, this reference number here could be 212, which again is on the arm in Donnie Darko. Okay, and it could be 213. Okay, because we're jumping between these two references, and obviously the two references themselves gives you the 213, and this is all about starting over again, beginning of this cycle again. Okay, so this is fascinating, this number jump here. Yeah, and this is also the number that's at the top of the dartboard. Okay, it crosses. No, it doesn't cross with this number, but it's part of 20 and 203. Okay, so it's part of, it's 20 at the top, and then it's what we've got down the bottom, 3. The dart. I'm trying to think of the dartboard, right? And then over one side we've got 1, and over the other side we've got 5. Okay, so you've got 521 at the top of the dartboard, and then 302, 203 running up and down. So this is again an interesting reference with the dartboard, because of course Madonna's numbers are on the dartboard as well. Okay, they show up as a grouping of numbers on the dartboard. So this is fascinating. Okay. What else do I want to mention about this? Anyway, actually, if you look at the numbers on Donnie Darko's arm, if we break them down a little bit differently, okay, there's 2, 8, there's a 6 and a 4. There's actually a 0 in here as well, and then there's 2, 1, 2 on the end of it. So you can see already that looks kind of interesting, that reference there. And then obviously 6-4 is the date. And okay, let's just look at 280 here. So if we were to look at the number 2 and the number 8, where does it take us? It takes us to 47, which is the following day after 6-4. Okay, and we can then look at stuff like, well, what's the total up to 47? What's this point here if you add them all together? It's 1, 2, 2. Die Another Day. The release of that video is on 10/22. Okay, Christopher Lloyd's birthday, 10/22. the date of that famous Montparnasse train crash in Paris, okay, 1022, with all the Madonna numbers on the train. Again, if we look at what other numbers do I want to show you in here? I could change this over now so we could get a 4-6 reference, because you can't get a 4-6 reference in this chart. You've got to put another row in beginning with 4 here. Okay, so if I just show you this, oh, hang on a minute, let's just go to it. So I've got this extra 4 rows scribbled in here. So if we do a 4-6 reference, well, let's see where it takes us. 4-6 takes us back to 28. You'll note that in the what was it, Ghost Town video, there is a 50, I think it's a 52, 28, 82 reference at the end of that video on the side of a dumpster. Okay, so again, just interesting, you know. Another thing to note in here as well while we're on this chart is that 4A itself, the eclipse reference, is a 7-3 reference. This will be important in a minute. Just keep that in the back of your mind, that 4-8 is, you know, a reference to here, because, well, let me go back to the other chart so I can show you a little bit clearer why that's interesting. There's a number in here, 37, right? And it re-references itself. It's in the 3rd row, 7th column. 37 references 37. It's the only number in the whole table that does this. It's special, okay? And what you'll notice as well is that this 7 drops down onto a 13 here, and this 7 here moves on to a 13 here, and obviously Donald Trump's ear wound, 713. So we have these 2 repeat 713s in here, which are quite interesting as well. Anyway, another thing I just noticed, I've just noticed this. Oh, I'll tell you, it just probably because I just drew an arrow. Look there, Dan. Is this bunch of numbers right here? Very important, because this is towers 1. Well, actually, that's tower 2, 1, and tower 7. Okay. If we look at the columns here, so our 9 and 11 references, 2, 3, 3, 5, 3. Let me just go back to this. 2. It's not the right way around, of course. What did I just say it was? Let's add on the end date. Okay, so we've got 3, 2, 2, 5, 3. Let me just see what that was. 2, 3, 3, 5, 3. Okay, so a little bit of a switcheroo there, but it's still kind of interesting. Yeah, still kind of interesting. What else do I want to say here? Anyway, so getting sidetracked. Anyway, this 37 is interesting because, let me show you, because I've got another number jump in here, and it's right here actually, and it's from the end of Madonna's tour through to this particular day, and it's 337 days. That is slightly fascinating, because all her March dates were synchronized. How do I explain that? Let's just drop back to the 31st of March. See, it's synchronizing with the days here, and all these days were synchronized. Yeah, 328, 328. So that was kind of interesting. And this 337 is interesting because, let's get rid of this junk. Because when you do look at the 37, which is extremely special, you'll notice that the 33 is right here. You'll notice that if you just come across in the diagonal, there's our 47, okay, and then if you come across and cross that again, you've got Madonna numerology 1, 8, and 6 in here. So that was just another interesting thing that I thought, oh, yeah. Boy, what else do I want to show? What's our last number jump? That's just from her birthday through to that particular date. Not that mega interesting, I suppose. 66 years, 233 days, 33 weeks, 2 days. Not megally interesting to me. Maybe somebody else has something interesting with that. I don't know. What else do I want to show? I think that's pretty much it for the number jumps. Again, look, here's something interesting. So that Olivia Newton-John birthday is also the 9/26, which would be the twin date for today, is also Linda Hamilton's birthday. Yeah, 9/26. She happens to be 68 years old, this Madonna numerology again. And she was married to James Cameron, and James Cameron did the film, yeah, Judgment Day. And note that he is a Francis as well. And notice that he is also born on 8/16, Madonna's birthday. So you just go. I mean, I tell you what, it's just you can't believe it. But this is this is the mother of JC, not Jesus Christ, but John Connor. Okay, JC. Okay, what else we got? Come on down. We also, I had it finished on May 5th, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And notice that they had the obviously there's the reference to Star Wars in Die Another Day there with the video. And actually, William Sullivan was was giving me some stuff about May the 4th. But what was I? This was what was interesting. So this beginning date, October the 14th, 2023. The eclipse reference there. But where's my number jump for it? Here it is. So again, back to the dartboard, right? There's our 20 at the top of the dartboard and 3 at the bottom, 203. And if we click on, we've also got 204, which was a number that was showing up in the golden ratio. Okay, and I'll show you this actually. So not only do we have this connection back to the dartboard there, with the golden ratio, okay, so from the beginning date here, we'll go 204 days. It's taken us to 45 or 54. So 204 and 45. Let me show you something now in here. This is another one of these decode charts, the Queen's Cross. In the video for What It Feels Like for a Girl, this number shows up at the old people's home when she picks up the old granny at the start of the video. Okay, now all I'm going to say is from this point on down to here, all these numbers are synchronized, okay, with each other. I've lined up corresponding numbers, as you can see right here. Okay, we got Fibonacci row in blue and the actual first 24 digits of pi here in red, with a couple of blue numbers in the middle there. But notice that the 358 is lining up here. Okay, notice that the 88 in Fibonacci here is lining up with the 88 in the golden ratio here. So when you look down on this now, look at this 62-64 connection here with Madonna. 62 and today's date, 6/4. Look at the Sean Penn reference here, with the Queen's death date here. That's the Queen's death date on the end of there. That's Sean Penn's birthday. That's a personal reference to me. Another personal reference to me is this date here, which also ties in with Pluto, which also ties in with 4/9 because it's the twin day of the year for 4/9. So I can almost, so there's a ton of references here with stuff that's lining up. Okay, and then again, if we come back over here, okay, we can see 4626. Okay, which is in the numbers of pi right here. So these numbers that are in here is kind of tying us in with, this 4-6 here is trying to tie in with the 6-4 in Fibonacci. Okay, and this is our 4626 reference again. So it's right above. So if you notice, it's right above here, and we can drop down to we can drop down to pi here as well. This again is pi right here. I should have pointed that out. But this is just lined up differently. Okay, this is actually lined up with the middle of the table here. This God, this is the midpoint of the table here, and this green pi is matching up with this pi here. I know this just sounds insane. Okay, this is very important right here with the reference to Pierce Brosnan and Die Another Day. He was playing Bond in that film, and in GoldenEye. This is his birthday here, which is also in a leap year ties to Madonna's birthday. And again, so we're getting this connections with these numbers all kind of linking together here. Okay. Anyway, what I was trying to get to was this. Okay, the 204 with the runtime of the let me show you again. Where were we? So this is basically the runtime of the tour, the celebration tour, 204 days inclusive. Yeah, and it takes us to 4-5. And then when we come back in here and look at the golden ratio, lo and behold, 204 days, and it takes us to 4-5. I think I've got to end the video here. There's just so many personal references. It's just insane. Will we see something with Madonna? I don't know. But the references, my personal references to this date, are just nuts. Especially now. Maybe that is the reference for this day for me, is just my father's death. Okay. We're doing fine anyway with it. I think because it was because we'd sort of been expecting it rather than it being a shock or a surprise. Because we've been kind of already, we've kind of already gone through that. We've gone through that process once in whenever it was, whenever I went back to England in the fall there. So we've already went through that process kind of, and we're already sort of, it was very expected, so it's not been as traumatic as it probably would have been. So anyway, it's in a better place now, so that's the main thing. But yeah, the connections to my own family is just out of this world insane. I think we've done everything really. I mentioned the Superman stuff as well. If I get a chance, I'll look the numbers up. Unless somebody wants to look them up and post them in the comments, I'll look up the Superman numbers and see what we had there. But that'll come on another video. And there is a lot more little bits and bobs in here, I think. What was that one? That was... Oh, this was... So the end of the tour through, and we got the 54 again. Which was interesting because, of course, you could do the inclusive date here, which was a 145. I'll show you something else as well real quick. But that was that 54 again, which was the end date for the tour. Okay, so from the start of the tour to this particular day gave us the same numerology as the end date for her tour. The end date for Madonna, maybe. Okay. Anyway, I'll post this in a minute, hopefully before the end of the day. let me show you just one more thing in the chart of in this chart actually. But let's just get rid of some of this bump out of the way here because I need that corner. So Madonna's birthday does show up in this chart, and it's right here, 168. And just note that this here was the date that they changed Who's That Girl to. Originally it was a 236 reference, and they changed it to 296. Okay, then coming off of that is the reverse of Madonna's. It's kind of the flipped round version of Madonna's birthday, which is Matthew Perry's birthday. Which, interestingly, again, there's a little role in Friends as well for a character that reminds me of Madonna. It was Matt LeBlanc's Joey's agent, and there is a death scene in there. Actually, I'll have to go back and look at it and see what the numbers were again, because there was some candlesticks and stuff in there with some, you could get some numbers from. But nevertheless, this connection to Matthew Perry, the flip round, it's 3 days difference in the dates as well. And there was the connection in Friends with the death of Joey's agent, that looked a lot like Madonna, I thought. Anyway, here's this 145 or 541. Okay, so there's the 541 that crosses in with her birthday. So again, if you went from the end of, if you did the end of the tour through 145, okay, 145 there, and 145 here. Okay, so that's even in the correct order as well, which is better. Okay, just interesting stuff. I'm gonna have to sign off. I've got a headache. We were up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night with the prom thing, and I just couldn't believe, just when you start thinking about stuff and you think, oh, I don't know what else to say. It's the personal references are just crazy. Anyway, I'll catch you on another video soon, and yeah, thanks for watching, and God bless. And I guess I'll just tell you one more thing about my dad. He'd kind of rejected I don't say rejected the Catholic faith, but I think he'd had enough of it while he was growing up. Yeah, because my father's side quite Catholic, quite religious. Obviously, being an Irish family, obviously they're Catholics. The last few years, though, he kind of, I don't know, connected back with that idea. So I don't know necessarily about the whole institution here, how the corrupt institution of it, but the idea of connecting back with God, obviously through what he already knew from the Catholic Church. So which I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, but obviously when we have figures that become, they demonstrate the opulence and the power, don't they? And when you get people in those positions, anybody that seeks that position is, anybody that seeks a position of power, you've got to question. You've just got to question the whole thing. Anyway, I don't want to start waffling now about, what's wrong or right about the Catholic Church, but it's just an interesting connection back that he found this again. Okay. Obviously, I don't think everybody that goes to church is terrible, or everybody, it doesn't matter what religion, or I don't know, but I don't think there's necessarily. I think there's necessarily some undertones of some not so correct stuff going on there. Obviously, most of the people watch this channel obviously know and realise that. So, but it's really more to do with the power structure rather than the word of God, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there because I'm getting waffly. All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch another one soon. All right. Cheers. Right. Bye.